Good evening. Welcome to the first edition of Friday Night Magpie Live, and from all places, it's coming from Newport. Welcome one and all. Thought we'd try out a little Friday night show on the eve of the start of the new season. Have a chat about our thoughts and our hopes, our ambitions. What we think of squad recruitment, what we think of the opening game against Newport tomorrow, Martin Patterson's arrival, more straight talking in his interviews that have been posted out today. Who's coming down to Newport? I've come down in the advanced scouting party, so I'm in my little. It's a student campus, believe it or not. 45 quid, so you can't grumble too much, on the banks of the River Usk. And at the minute, it's all very nice and sunny. Okay, so let's hear plenty of your thoughts. It's just me tonight chatting, so fire plenty of questions, some thoughts and some observations. One of the things I fired at everyone earlier today on the socials was memories of your opening game of the season. Jonathan Hammocks, he was on at 5:19. There you go, above and beyond the call of duty. He put out one I'd forgotten about, actually, a 4-all 8-goal thriller. Evening, Paul. Love the dedication and extra content. One of my best 5 games of the season, opening games, 1987, Notts County 4, Wigan 4. One of my favourite seasons, apart from losing in the playoffs. I was 15. If I remember correctly, I think that was John Barnwell's first year after Derek Pavis took over. And I think John signed quite a few decent-sized names. Jeff Pike springs to mind on that for that opening day. And didn't we have, I think we had Andy Gray, didn't we, for a while? But yeah, 4-all, that was a right belt, if I remember rightly. But for me, there can be only one. There can be only one. Tell me if you were there. You're old enough to remember it. Aston Villa crowned Football League champions, for want of the younger generation, Premier League champions. Opening day, Villa Park, sold out Villa Park. Notts newly promoted. No one gave us a prayer. Aston Villa 0, Notts County 1. Paul Hooks' corner. Ian McCulloch leapt like a salmon at the far post, nodded it into the bottom corner, and then we hung on for about the next 70 minutes. Great times. And the worst, I suspect more of you would have been at this one, or at least still living. Sutton United 5, Notts County 1 on our return to the Football League 2 seasons ago. That wasn't great, was it? Never mind. Let's get some thoughts from the flock, as always. From Royston, can't wait. Everything starts tomorrow, so let's get ready to rumble. And he adds a load of E's on the end of that. Must be a WWE fan, Royston. Have you got your black armbands on with the passing of Hulk Hogan? Jurgen Halligan, evening all. Supporters coach to Monmouth, then on to Newport for the game. Looking forward to it. Come on, you pies. Just remind me, Jurgen, did you do every game last year? I mean, when was the last time you missed one? That's me posting a few messages to prompt some responses. Richard Elvian, we'll know a little more come 5 p.m. tomorrow on how we're shaping up with new players, new coach, and a new approach. Jurgen Halligan, I'd start Bennett and Cotter as wing-backs, Norburn on the bench. I'm sure we'll be coming onto team selection and our guesses for the starting 11 tomorrow. What else have we got on the boards? John Carty, evening, John. We're still in the market for a couple more players, according to MP. Who knows what the first 11 will look like? Buckle up for the ride. Elvis Bot, evening to Elvis. Am I on overtime, says Anthony. Yeah, same. Yeah, treble the rate I normally get, which is 0. Who else have we got? Wishgiver UK. Jatta, providing he stays. Let's just look at it as if he's out injured. Only 4 to go after tomorrow. Jurgen with a rumour or two. Kieran Sadler training with us. Ex-Wickham, not come across him. I'm guessing if it's anywhere near true, Jurgen, that Roberto Gagliardi has been following his career closely for several years. We'll have to wait and see on that one. Shane Walker, Solent Magpie. Evening all, cannot wait for tomorrow. Let's bring the 3 points home. Neil Widdowson, on my way tomorrow. Now, lots of us will be coming on in cars and coaches. Neil is on his motorbike. Has he got a big Harley or something? I don't know. Will Charlesworth, really looking forward to tomorrow. Best day of the season. It's the first game day. I probably wouldn't start either of Bennett's and Norman and have them off the bench. Evening, says Terry Robertson, and here's to a good season. Shane Walker agrees with me of a certain vintage. Villanelle Notts won 1981. God, that's 44 years ago. God dear. Wayne Wilkins, opening day 2018, I think. 0-0 at home to Colchester. Probably the worst game I've ever seen. Jurgen Halligan. This is a good one. Notts 5, Bradford 0. Hughesy with the hat-trick. That's right. And Hughesy with the immortal line to Sven as he was in the tunnel. Sven said, can you get me 2 goals today, please? And Lee shot back, I'll get you a hat-trick, Sven. Ian Cooksey. This is another good one. I've forgotten how many pretty memorable opening day games there's been. 1983, Leicester 0, Notts 4. Trevor Christie hat-trick. That was a great day. Season tailed off a bit after that, if I remember right, but that was a good day. 1976, Notts County 1, Millwall 2. Brian Stubbs sent off and dropped his shorts to the ref. I'd have been 13 then. I can't quite pick that one. Derek Flowers, Bradford home game, Lee Hughes hat-trick. Thought now it's been mentioned, I'm sure a lot will look back on that with plenty of pride. I agree with Jurgen. The 5-0 Bradford, says Paul Sills. Jurgen Halligan, we missed Salford away last season. Too icy for the motorbike. Any excuse, Jurgen, not to go to a game. Elvis Spot, I'll be watching it on TV as working, so can't go down. Looks like we did well with getting a fee for Bass with him being out injured. So Posh had to get another keeper. I must admit, have I missed something? Has he picked up an injury? Didn't see that at all, Elvis. Tell me more. More players coming in, says Richard Elvian. Must include a striker, surely. I think reading between the lines, listening to his interview, Martin's interview today, and the interviews he did with ourselves the other week, then absolutely he is looking for someone that can score goals and score goals regularly. Because it's quite interesting, isn't it? The club do not have allocated a player to the number 9 slot at the minute. John Collins also goes with that game from Filbert Street in 1983, Leicester 0, Notts 4. I came back directly from my holiday in Tenby. I thought it said Turkey for a minute, but Tenby in Wales. I'm sure the beaches were better, not sure about the weather, with my 2 young sons. Great optimism after that. We got relegated. We did. We went out with a whimper, didn't we? But it was a good first game. I think we got a result in the second one, and we were top for about 2 days. Out for 6 weeks, says Jurgen, regards Alex Bass. Got injured in a friendly. I missed that one completely. Terry Robertson as well, saying it's out for several weeks, as does Andrew Hartshaw. Okay, that's got me up to speed with the messages. A couple of shout outs I want to give to people. You may have seen quite a lot of media coverage on the Greatest Gathering, big rail exhibition show, call it what you will, at Derby over the next 3 days. Over 37,000 people are going there. One of the largest collections ever of steam locomotives, diesel locomotives. You've probably seen it on the news. What you may not know is that the greatest gathering, as it has been called, was actually the brainchild of a Notts County fan, Richard Stanton, who has a love of trains and a love of Notts County. So I know Richard, known him for many years, one of the founder members of the Trust back in the noughties. And he was one of the prime movers behind getting it going. I went along with my son to the official opening of it last night. Great event, I have to say, great event. Cost them a lot of money, but really befitting 200 years of the railway industry since 1825. So 200 years, and a Notts man has been instrumental in getting all that sorted. Second shout out I want to give. Meant to mention Kim before. So Kim Wolster, who many of you will know, a Notts County super fan, and I do not use the adjective lightly. Her family are certainly the most committed family of Notts fans that I know of. Others similar, but certainly no one more committed than Kim's extended family. Kim, I think, as most of us will know, is having to wage a very serious fight against a very, very serious illness at the moment. But she's been to Notts Friendlies, and she's coming tomorrow to Newport from Nottingham, which I think is an absolutely incredible achievement. So keep an eye out for Kim at the game tomorrow. She's determined to carry on supporting Notts for as long as she possibly can. And I think it's a great testimony to Kim's courage and bravery, and to that of her family and friends who are helping and enabling her to keep on coming to the games. So keep an eye out for Kim tomorrow. Okay, that's a couple of shout outs there. What else have we got to have a chat about tonight? We've done opening games. Newport County, right? So who is old enough to remember Newport when they used to play at Somerton Park? They dropped out of the league in the 1980s, so Notts did play there a few times. I'm going to go along to the site of the old ground tomorrow morning. There's not much else to do in Newport, if I'm honest with you. And we'll do a bit of filming for the blog. It's a bit of a kind of a housing estate now. I remember going there, watching Notts play on a couple of occasions, Somerton Park. Who else from the flock went there? Rodney Parade it is now. And I think, to be fair to Newport, done really well, haven't they? Done really well. Dropped out the league, went bust basically, and played all over Gloucestershire and South Wales before coming back. So I think they deserve great credit for having got themselves back into the Football League and established themselves in the Football League as well. One name that will be familiar to us tomorrow will be Michael Reindorf. He was strongly linked with joining us last year on loan. In the end, the deal didn't quite go through, but his parent club, Cardiff, have got him out on loan at Newport. Those of you watching Barnet's game, I saw a bit of it on Tuesday night. Barnet's game. Well, it was Barnet's game, but they were playing Newport. And Michael Reindorf scored a pretty spectacular goal in that one. So we'll have to keep our eyes and ears on him tomorrow. Tim Alsop, here's someone of my vintage. I went to Somerton Park when many, many years ago, John Aldridge was playing for Newport. He was, yeah. Newport had some really good players at the time. Tommy Tynan, he scored over 200 goals in the Football League. And I think they qualified for something like the European Cup Winners' Cup one year. So they had a decent team. I think they got up to championship level for one or two seasons. Yvonne Biddle. Now then, yes, looking. So there's King Louis, who we've never managed to get on the show yet, but the Brussels Griffon dog, who's a big supporter of the show, has his own cushion to watch us on the settee and barks at me and Stell. Well, he's got a playmate now, Dave, who's a little pug. And Yvonne took Dave the pug down to Meadow Lane on, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday, and Dave, the little pug, met a variety of the Notts players on his first visit to Meadow Lane. There you go. So I don't know whether Yvonne got him one of them doggy bandana, Notts County doggy bandanas, but Yvonne's just dropped me a line to say Kim will be on the coach with me and Jurgen, going to enjoy our stop in Monmouth. All the family can't go, you see, and sometimes I think it might be Yvonne's dad. He can't go because he has to dog sit the dogs. They can't all go at the same time for the dogs, you see. So, Yvonne, but we will sort out a day. Louis and Dave are currently sleeping. I bet they weren't sleeping when the show started, but I bet they are now. Ian Cooksey educates me on Newport. They were in the European Cup Winners' Cup in 1981. That's Spotter's badge. John Gregory, sorry I'm late. No worries, John. No worries at all on that one. What else have we got? Okay, let's talk a little bit about side squad tomorrow. What are we expecting? You know, we're all going to be football manager. What are we expecting tomorrow in terms of the Notts lineup? I had a stab earlier, personally, and put down what you think. I had a stab at this earlier. I can't see there being more than one, tops two changes from the starting 11 against Cardiff last week. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's exactly the same team. I mean, I've kind of gone for the same 11. Roos in goal, Cotter and Gordon wing backs, Froggy, Platt, Beddoe, 3 centre halves, Permian midfielders in terms of how they line up: Palmer, Iapenda, Grant, Jones, and Dennis up top. I guess there might be a temptation to play Keenan Bennett's left wing back if Martin doesn't want to play inverted at all, with Keenan being left-footed. But I guess we're not in possession of exactly how match fit he is and how much of a pre-season he's been able to do elsewhere with other clubs and what he's been up to. And then Ollie Norburn has literally had half an hour in the last 7 or 8 months. So I think it might be a little bit too ambitious for him to be starting. Would you all be happy to see that starting 11? Would you want to see slightly different changes to that or not? Yvonne adds on the dogs, on her doggies' travel arrangements. I just do the away days and my sister does the home. My dad goes to them all. That's how the family dynamic works for the Mutleys. Wayne Wilkins, obviously a dog lover. A little pug. I have one as well. What a great name. Pablo the pug. Well, Wayne, of course, is based for quite a bit of the time in Barcelona, so it's got to be Pablo on it for his name. Pablo loves watching the Notts on TV when I'm not at the game. I've told the story before, but brings me back when I was little and growing up in Collick Woods. My dad used to bring a fox terrier, Asta, down to Notts games, and in those days they didn't mind you bringing the dog. Didn't bring it down for first team games, used to bring it down for reserves, North Midlands League games. So we'd walk down with the dog. We never had a car, and then it'd be allowed in through the turnstile, other than on one famous occasion when the different turnstile attendant refused to let the dog in, and my dad says, well, he comes in every ruddy game. So in the end we got the dog in. But I think now, Yvonne will correct me if I'm wrong, Louis wasn't allowed to go to the pre-season game at Alfreton. She checked with them in advance and they wouldn't let him in. You'd have thought they'd have let a dog in at Alfreton, wouldn't you? But apparently not. Andy Easom, evening, Andy. My one visit to Somerton Park was around 1980, if I recall correctly, an evening League Cup tie. And I do believe it was absolutely boiling hot. On the subject of the current squad, yes, this is a good point, and one we should debate. From Anthony, I am concerned Jarvis appears to be out of favour. Do you think it's his work rate, attitude, or something else? Yeah, it was interesting. I don't know how many of you picked up the reserves team that was named and played against Wickham in midweek. And there were kind of three names that stuck out on that, mostly younger YTs, young teenagers. But in that starting 11 was Will Jarvis, Hinchy, and Kuyar. Now, we might all read too much into this, but that kind of says to me those three are being played, if not for punishment, but certainly a bit of a kick up the backside, shall we say. And I would be surprised if any of those were to feature too heavily tomorrow. But yeah, I did pick that up with Jarvis. I was out in Germany, as you know. Will didn't have a great number of minutes out there. You know, we have now signed even more wing backs. You know, I think it's about 7 at the last count. And previous manager used Will as a wing back. Martin, in the game time that Will was given, by and large, continued to play in that left wing back role. We've now signed Keenan Bennett, who would appear to be left wing back. So unless there's a different type of role for Will Jarvis, it will be interesting to see, I think, how he copes with that. Some people in the Hull fans in the past have said sometimes there's an aura or an impression, because I think he's quite laid back, as if needs a bit more oomph. You know, quite where Martin Patterson is with him, don't know. But at the minute, I'm not necessarily thinking we'll be seeing him in the starting 11 in the immediate future. What else have we got? Yvonne says no. King Lou's only been to one game at Matlock. Ian Cooksey says regards limited game time and a reserve run out for Jarvis. It will be work rate, says Ian. Martin has stated that he won't accept a lack of effort. Jarvis can be afraid to tackle or be tackled, so not great in League One. I think he's a creative player, isn't he? He's a creative player, but I think Martin has gone to great lengths to stress the importance of fitness, competitiveness, kind of the basics before you start to move on to next levels. Derek Flowers, and we gave Jarvis a 3-year contract. Oh dear, look, we don't know how these things pan out. You know, we're all talking about how it was great to beat Leicester 4-0 on the opening day of the season 42 years ago, and we got relegated. So look, it's a very small sample size at the minute. I really like Jarvis, says Lippy Jane. Very skillful, looks casual as he dribbles by them. Jurgen Halligan, what's happened to Traore? Not involved in the 16 last weekend, was at the game. I believe there's a slight knock. Read into that what you will. Again, not necessarily someone we might expect to be seeing too much of, I think, in the early games. I think one of the really major thrusts of Martin's coaching and management, he stressed it many times. He stressed it in the interviews today. Players have to be fitter than they were last season, individually and collectively. So clearly he attaches a great deal of store to fitness. And I think we'll have seen in games, even in friendly games, pre-season games, he expects his players to get stuck in, for want of a better phrase. And both levels of fitness and getting stuck in, being competitive, were two traits, if you like, that were, or criticisms that were often leveled under Stuart Maynard's head coaching. So I think those are prerequisites that Martin's kind of embedding into the team, and some players might thrive under that culture. Other players might take a little more time to adapt to it, shall we say. Andy Esom, remember Tony Green, the former landlord of the Newmarket in town, used to bring his dog. I do remember this. And it sat with him on the old wooden bleachers as a season ticket holder. There was a story in the paper. That's right. When was that, Andy? I mean, what decades are we talking? Was that before even my time? Was that 50s, 60s? But now you've come to say, I remember that. I remember that now. Yeah. Are we setting up to play a false number 9? Says Solent Magpie. Anthony says Matt Le Tissier wasn't fit, but Saints built a team around him. Well, I think he was fit enough to be able to do certain things, Anthony. I take your point. Wayne Wilkins, Knots have addressed exactly what we were missing last season. We have a battle-hardened squad now compared to just having a squad of technical players, which I think is a very good point that Wayne raises there. And Stella and I discussed this a little bit on Monday night, but I'd welcome your views this evening on it. I think it's unquestionable that we have less individual quality within the squad as it stands, in terms of we have sold on players or released players who were of a very high quality for League Two. So I'm talking Bass in goal, obviously picked up an injury, but we weren't to know that at the time. I think everyone to a man would say Bass was one of the top 3 keepers in League Two. David McGoldrick cleaned up on the awards, scored a stack of goals, was not injury prone despite what some people might say, played the 8th most number of minutes of any player in the squad last season, and has now moved to a division higher. I'm not sure we ever replaced in the structure that we had last season Dan Crowley. Macaulay Langstaff left at the start of last season. And yes, we have Alassane Jatta, but we did have Maka and Jatta for 4 months the previous season. Even Aaron Naman, I think we've struggled to fully replace what he offered to the team. But here's the but. Martin Patterson is going to unquestionably got the players fitter. I think we're going to be unquestionably more competitive. And I think we're going to be much more like a conventional League Two team, and much nearer to a blueprint of the teams that got promoted last season. So the likes of Doncaster, Port Vale. You look at previous years with the Wrexhams, Stockports, Mansfield. A lot of those systems, fitness levels, competitiveness, was largely formulaic, and that's not being critical, it's being complementary. So I think we're going to be a lot more like that. But the question for me is Martin going to get enough more out of the sum of the parts, or have we just not got enough of that real quality to be able to win games when it's 50-50 shout and there's a bit of individual brilliance here and there? And I think as it stands, you've got to be concerned about our goal capability. Thoughts, everyone? Let's see what you think about that. Come on, you're being shy at the minute. Anthony agrees with Wayne with regards a battle-hardened group of players. We could certainly see that from the Cardiff game, says Anthony. Lippy Jane, do you think they knew about the injury for Bass? Now, I believe it was something in game rather than something longer term, Lippy James. I'm sure there'll be some conspiracy theories abounding. There always is these days. Ian Cooksey, news of another ex-goalkeeper, Aidan Stone, has signed for Truro. Yeah, as you know, I have a bit of a soft spot for Truro, Cornwall, first team, fifth tier of English football out of Cornwall. I think Aidan lives down in the West Country, so I'm guessing that is probably a very good move for all parties. Andy Esom, what I don't understand that. I was talking about Mr. Green. Yeah, Yorkie went missing. I'm presuming that's the dog, and a bulletin was put out in the media in an attempt to find it. Not sure if this was after a run of poor results. Mr. Green went on to manage the Britannia there. This is the mystery of the resident doggy season ticket holder. I wonder how many dogs are season ticket holders with the 6,200 that Notts have got so far this year, which I think is a great effort from fans. Derek Flowers, strikers can't score if they don't get the service. The service should be better with the players we've signed. All right, I'll ask you a more specific one, see what you think. Jody Jones, are you happy and do you prefer him playing as a 10 in the hole, the McGoldrick role, call it what you will, or do you think he's better wide? What do we think? Yes, no, quantify your thoughts on where you think we can get the best out of Jody and where you'd like to see him play. Duncan Comrie, we definitely need another goal scorer, but also need the midfield to chip in more this season. Royston says Jody is not a 10. John Carty, Jody is definitely better on the wing. Jurgen says, I prefer Jody as a wide player, goes past players, I suppose he ghosts past them as well for that matter, with ease. Ian Haywood disagrees. Jody is better in the hole as a 10. Ian Cooksey, I prefer him where he is, as there is less chance of him being butchered. Be interesting to see, won't it? Be interesting to see how that pans out. I certainly think that we have an abundance of wing backs, don't we, at this moment in time? I'm hoping we don't pick up too many injuries, centre halves either, because we don't necessarily have too many who are fit and who will definitely be available. Jake says, I think Jody may get doubled up a lot less as a 10. Although the counter argument to that, I guess, Jake, is that if there's two people marking Jody on the wing, there should be space for other players elsewhere in the team to exploit. What else have we got? Terry Robertson. Jones is a better winger. However, we don't play wingers, we play wing backs, and he can't defend and uses too much energy defending in our system. I feel he is best in the 10 role. Ian Haywood, wing backs, scrap them. John Gregory, agree to be it will be interesting to see how this experiment starts. Andy Esom, I'm happy with Jody playing more centrally if the wide men do the business in his place. Will be nice not to see him get another season of being kicked uphill and down Dale. Greza Maxwell, evening Greza. JJ is better on the wing, not strong enough in the middle and will get thumped. Ian Cooksey spoke to a Grimsby fan yesterday, said that Luca is an excellent signing. Yes, meant to be talking about Jaden. They were gutted he didn't go there. Neil Adkin, I wonder if Bennett's could play a 10. John Carty, good point, recover for centre halves. A couple of injuries, suspensions, and we may well be struggling. Obviously, we don't yet know how it's going to pan out with Lewis Macari. Not quite sure where Lucas Ness is in terms of fitness at this moment in time either. Jaden Luca, yeah. So since we last had the show on Monday, what do we think? Young lad coming from his parent club, Luton. 3 goals in 22 appearances for Grimsby last year. As I understand it, not an out-and-out striker, not an out-and-out goal scorer. Anyone got any previous experience of having watched him, seen him in action? Gazzalee on the opening games, 19th of August, 1989, at Brisbane Road, Orient away. Phil Stant, bullet header at the Knots End. Brilliant first day of the season. Any other thoughts, views that you have got, please let us know. Perhaps should just give a plug for the competition we've got at the minute. We've had hundreds of entries already, actually. So this is a competition to win a replica home shirt, size of your choice. Magpie Circle are delighted to be sponsoring Matty Platt again, home shirt this season. So I've had a quick word with Matty, and he will be delighted to sign that shirt and dedicate it to whoever you want. So unless you're gonna, I wouldn't wear it too often, maybe get a frame on it. So how you can win that absolutely free is be a subscriber of this channel. There's a little video elsewhere on this channel talking about the competition. Take a look, like it, and then post on the messages below the size of the shirt and any other message you may want to pop down, wishing not success and all the rest of it. And we'll be making the draw for that. That'll be a week on Monday on the show with Stell. What else have we got? Royston. He played for Accrington against Notts at Meadow Lane. Ian Cooksey, apparently, he's got a bit of pace and likes to attack defenders. Paul Cuthbert, here, our starting lineup, assuming players are fit. So then, do we agree or disagree, or what do we think of Paul's starting 11? Roos in goal, El Joffrey. I need to check with someone as to how you pronounce El Joffrey. So anyway, Platt, Beddoe, then Palmer. So he's going to start Norburn, Iapenda, Cotter, Jones. Going to start Bennett, Dennis up top. 3-2-1-3-1. Blimey. Gordon not for me. Grant not consistent. Try it. Don't know what you call that. It's not a Christmas tree, is it? But anyway, any suggestions for parking tomorrow? Gaza Lee says, reckon Kingsway Shopping Centre. That's a possible. I've had a little walk round. Around the ground itself, it's a nightmare. Lots of terraced housing. Kingsway, you are banging centre of town. It will kind of depend how early you want to get there, look around Newport or whatever. Those of you coming on the train, one of the reasons I've come down today, there's no direct trains to Newport at the moment like there used to be, something to do with engineering works on the line. So if you're coming on the train, it's either via London or you'll go through Derby, Birmingham and change at Bristol Parkway. Drinks wise, before the game, there's a big Wetherspoons up, which is just around the corner, Sir John Wallace or something, from the railway station, which was absolutely packed when I got off the train earlier today. Plenty of watering holes around, and to be fair, there's a nice new shopping centre now, and I think they've done it up a bit now, Newport, to be fair. So, yeah, parking-wise, unless you're going to get here really early, forget being very close to the ground. If you're prepared to walk half a mile to 1 mile, when you come in, you come down the hill, don't you? There's a church on the right hand side. You can park round there and then walk 10-15 minutes, and there's a couple of pubs there. Depends if you want to go into the town centre or not, I guess. I always use Just Parking app if driving, says Jurgen. Yeah, but you've only got the Harley to park, Jurgen, haven't you? It's a bit easier there. Greza Maxwell, parking Sainsbury's. Gaz, it's only a 40 quid fine after 2 hours, cheaper than getting the train. Ian Cooksey, Pen and Wig on Stow Hill is a good boozer near the railway station. Yes. I think my son went to some, there's a really old-fashioned place, funny name, which escapes me, but I'm sure one of our flock will know, which again is kind of en route in the centre from the station down towards the river and over the bridge to the ground at Rodney Parade. What else have we got? Andy Eason, yeah, reserve parking just off Corporation Road for less than a £5, 5 minutes from the entrance. Jurgen's ditched the Harley a few years ago. Got a Royal Enfield 350 now, Paul. That sounds very posh, Jurgen. A Royal Enfield 350. You learn something new every day, don't you? Okay. Well, I think, unless you're going to send me some more messages, my voice will either give out or I'll run out of subject matter to talk about. So we'll perhaps look to wrap up the show. But looking at the numbers of people, we've had a shed load on tonight. Over 300 people at any one time. That's very good. Why are you all not out on a Friday evening, or are you all going to bed early because of the early start to Newport tomorrow? Cooksey, I knew Cooksey's got it. Yep. The Ye Old Merenga is the best pub. That's the one with my lad Harry and his mates were last year. Yes, the Old Merenga. Very, very, very nice old style English boozer. Nice beers if you like that sort of thing. It was very good. Cheers, Paul, says John Carty. I think we're just coming to the end of the show. And Andrew Hartshorn, happy football evening, everyone. If you're traveling down tomorrow, and I think it's the best part of 1,000 are, which I think is good, because clearly there'll be quite a few of our fan base will be on holidays. It's prime holiday time. So I think 1,000 is a great number. Keep an eye out for me. I want to do lots of vox pops outside the ground, thoughts, previews, and to get your thoughts. So we'll be doing a vlog as normal tomorrow. We'll do those most games this season. So I look forward to seeing you all. Anthony Staples, whatever happens, let's get behind the boys. All knots are we. See you tomorrow, says Murray Biddle. Night all from Shane Walker, Solent Magpie. Cheers, Ian Hayward. All the best, Jake. See you tomorrow, says Yvonne, minus the Mutleys. Jurgen Halligan. Oh, is the football on tonight, Jurgen? Luton, Wimbledon. I might pop into the old Merenga then. Now Ian's reminded me of it, and watch the football for a little bit. That we're kicking off just about now. So we'll knock off so you can watch Luton, Wimbledon. Look forward to seeing everyone tomorrow. Vlog will be out after the game. And we'll be back on Monday with Stoke. So lots more content, lots of stuff going on this year. We wouldn't be able to do it without you. So thank you very much indeed for all your support. And hopefully you find some of these ramblings entertaining. The next one, we'll probably do it for the Barrow away game. Me and Stel are planning to be up there on Friday afternoon, and we're going to have a round of golf at one of the oldest links courses in England on Furness. So we'll look to spend a bit of time with the flock on Friday evening at Barrow. But thank you. Any feedback is always grateful. Matthew Hoyland says that's a nice bike, a Royal Enfield, Jurgen. Thank you, Paul, says John Gregory. All the best, everybody, says Ian Cooksey. Elvis Spot, work on the new training pitch going well. Obviously, Elvis keeps an eye on it to and from work. Yeah, that's a big positive for the club. Getting a much needed, if you like, more permanent training base. That'll do for now. Thank you ever so much indeed. Don't forget to enter the competition if not already. Look forward to seeing everyone at Rodney Parade tomorrow. Thank you for your participation tonight, and fingers crossed, here's to another great season. Cheers for now. Bye-bye.